you just met with your Chinese counterpart, Wang Yi, who has publicly said the U.S. response to the spy balloon was absurd, hysterical, and an effort to divert attention away from domestic problems. Was he that dismissive to you in private?
China is considering providing lethal support to Russia in its efforts in Ukraine. Serious consequences that would have for our relationship. We have a responsibility to manage our relationship in a responsible manner.
There is open source reporting that Chinese companies are providing surveillance equipment to that mercenary group, the Wagner group, fighting in Ukraine. Does the U.S. consider this to be providing military support to Russia?
Deep concern about the possibility China would provide lethal support to Russia in this effort, as well as engage in the systematic evasion of sanctions. And the reason for that concern was just weeks before the aggression. You'll remember that President Xi and President Putin had a meeting in which they just talked about a partnership with no limits. And we were concerned that among the lack of limits would be Chinese support for Russia in the war. We've been watching this very closely. To date, we have seen Chinese, of course in China there's really no distinction between private companies and the state. We have seen them provide non-lethal support to Russia for use in Ukraine. The concern that we have now is based on information we have that they're considering providing lethal support. And we've made very clear to them that that would cause a serious problem for us and in our relationship.
Lethal support. What do you think of?
Weapons.
That's ammunition. That's
primarily weapons.
Primarily.
There's a whole gamut of things that fit in that category, for everything from ammunition to the weapons themselves.
Iran is also accused of providing more weaponry to Russia here. They are building an alliance.
Not only is Iran providing this equipment to Russia, but Russia is also providing military equipment to Iran, including, it looks like, sophisticated fighter planes. That's something that looks like it may be happening, which would make Iran an even greater threat.
And that would make them party to this conflict directly. In other words, this isn't just a war between Russia and Ukraine. Usually when you say it's a direct conversation, that's Diplo speak for it didn't go very well. It was, it was pretty heated.
The possibility that China will provide lethal material support to Russia in its war effort against Ukraine.
But there was no apology.
And it's important that, again, don't want to characterize what they said, although it's safe to say there was no apology. We have to make sure that the competition that we're clearly engaged in does not veer into conflict, into a new Cold War. It's not in our interest.
So do you see a change in the U.S. position to greenlight other countries to provide fighter jets to Ukraine?
And so some of these weapon systems of one kind or another are highly sophisticated, things that they haven't used in the past. We've got to make sure that, again,
you're talking about U.S. jets there, it sounds like.
And the Ukrainians are doing everything that they can with our assistance to withstand that, and they're doing that very, very well. But in the months ahead, we fully anticipate that Ukraine will engage in its own counteroffensive, and what's vitally important is that they have what they need for that counteroffensive, not what they may need in a year or 2 years. We're working on that too, but the focus now has to be on what would they be able to use right now to defend themselves against the Russian offensive and to engage in their own offensive to take back more of the land that was seized by Russia by force.
To say that this constitutes legally crimes against humanity. President Biden has already used the term genocide. Is the State Department working on a genocide determination?
What? The determination that we made, crimes against humanity, that the Vice President announced today, is unfortunately starkly clear. What? Literally seizing Ukrainian children, sending them to Russia. President Putin has been trying from day one to erase Ukraine's identity, to erase its future. That's what's going on, and that too is a crime against humanity.
Some of what you described is consistent with the statutory basis for the Genocide Convention.
These are very serious determinations, and we will engage in them very seriously.